Welcome to Dungeon Master. And we are going into a dungeon. It looks like we actually got our Dungeons and Dragons grid back up for once in this whole series. And we're on the downward spiral of this series, but we're still going up to the top of the spires. And if we don't reach the top, then we'll have to stop and adjust our things, our potions, and soon we'll be on the map. I remember this. This is that one dungeon that you have to make paintings of to advance your characters. It's standing still like a locust in a frame. Oh, that's because I didn't run the projector. But it's not a projector, it's outside the window with the torch mirror. And this is a sample map, Dead and Buried, which is my career and my life and my meaning. Dead and buried. Just don't tell anyone that because it sounds pessimistic. But I'll finally get to relax when I'm dead and buried. And I don't mean to rub it in, but this whole game is like basically proving that you're not going to take it anymore, but you're still dead and buried. So you just got to do the best you can on this map. Now, if this isn't what I thought it would be, it looks like a centaur battle. Oh, commercial, let's all buy some plywood. All right, hang on. I see that button. I see you. Now, if you want to make it interactive, we go into the gameplay over here, and I'm going to switch on these. And I want the map to go up this way, so I'll look over here and kind of clear it over here. Well, which way should we go? Into the map? What do you think? We have so many choices in this dungeon. It takes us everywhere, and then I can control the game with the cursor. Isn't really the illusion I'm trying to make, but it's kind of looking like that, isn't it? It's called Chase the Cursor. And if you chase the cursor, you can get lots of gold and frankincense and myrrh and all those things of Middle Ages that you need for the coming of the Antichrist and all that is destroyed in his wake. And that really won't happen until the 90s or cinema, and how they all end with evil and atrocities. And that's just the movies. Now, if you're in the dungeon and you're riding a horse, then you're outside the castle but still under one banner. And that the progress is mildly slow isn't sorry for anybody that normally plays Dungeon Master and gets a breakneck pace. I mean, lo and behold, I am the breakneck pace sitter. And I am thrilled to see that this Dungeon Master does last longer than others, and how that I can read these menus so fast. But to get an idea of what the map is, and how unclose it is to the revelating plays that we will see later, done in sworn essence of time. Now, this is the wasteland that we must pay attention to, because when we're fighting centaurs and knocking them over, we've got to remember that there's this big setting around us that we can only map out so much of who we're fighting and who we're not fighting. Now, I'm going to go to a part of the map where they're not fighting, because the fighting's freaking me out a little bit. But then if I go over here, they're in the fray, and they're totally boxing it out. And then I go over here, and there's nothing in the frame. And then, but you can look up here, and there's this. This is important that we're still in this city, and we're like 8 minutes into the game, and we're only 4 minutes into our dungeon. Which means that formidably our dungeon will be concluding at a certain time before this dungeon, although it seems that would be evident anyway, especially with all the master control down here, generating images of where we want to be in the game. I mean, we can look ahead to see these frivolities become the true meaning of it all. But I have to share with you something, though. It's a meaning of time that I once had that really doesn't simply just liven up the playing, it also shows us where we get by with a different kind of map. So we're going to try this other map, and we have to fight through a commercial. But I'm not saying that Might and Magic is going to get us through this dungeon. I'm just saying, whoa, that's weird. Don't read that. Don't read that. That's not supposed to be read. Okay, here we go. We're trying again on another Might and Magic, and this looks interesting. This looks like we got Skyrim appeal. We're still in Adventures of Dungeons and Dragons. Who even knew this game existed? Do I see anyone raising their hands as they knew Might and Magic 6 existed? And is this a real game, or is this just an offshoot of Minecraft? Because I really don't know where I'm going in this game, but it looks so lively. Yes, I have played this. Okay. I played this for computer. Yeah, I remember this. Come on now. That's my fair maiden. I'm getting out of here. Alright, well, if I land on the ground, da-na-na-na-na-na, see what I see, da-na-na-na-na-na, you will see me climb the dungeon tower all the way. Oh, sorry, I was getting into my bard mood, where I get all sleazy on guitar, you know? And you can hear that it's not plugged in. Oh, did it say that again on the screen? Ignore that screen. And the bard likes to strike the notes while he gravitates and navigates through Dungeon Master. And then we all must see a way to the shiny seas ahead. And we take and pay our gold instead with a golden bow. I miss the golden bow of paradise. She is simply the one who's on my mind. What you're seeing is not really on there. So please don't finish my wine. Okay, sorry, I did bard mode again and I got all sleazed out. Here we are, 7 minutes in. We don't even know what was the parameter of this long take. Oh, not enough. We'll be searching out for Might and Magic Sorcerer Speed Run right now. And that's also part 6, and so we're going to go. We're going. Yeah, we got the ride this time, and it's over an hour long, so we're going for it. This is the fast-forward version of Might and Magic 6. Here we go. We got to get in a certain time that they're drilling out. I got to speed up on this part. Hang on. I see it working now. I see the dragons flying. They're all over the map. That their obscurity is free on the free will. And that we had to match this up with some kind of contextual resignations not to be explored by all might and magic travelers who fly above the desert. For if we had been stuck in the desert fighting centaurs again, I think I shall have given up. I don't remember this part. Are we really on Dungeon 74? Where's the script? I'm checking the script. Insert tape B. Aha, I was just rummaging through this script and I was looking for about 10 minutes through the script and yet the game was on the same spot. It just doesn't look like I paused it or something. And we had to do that on purpose with the special effects. And that way we could keep the machine going. But anyway, I read through my files that... Oh, what did I do with my files? Oh, we're on Dungeon 74. Might and Magic Dungeon. Well, that sounds simple. We might change the name to Magical Might Dungeon. But then they'll think they're talking about those little mites that grow on everyone, that run around and chomp your skin and turn into big zombies and take over the world and blow everything up. The mites, you know, those little things on our arms that are always crawling on us. I love that I'm covered in mites at all times. I need to be. But it's not because I don't take a shower, although that does reduce some of the mites, which is all characteristic of coming in after the desert. So we have a great lady, the enchantress, setting before us with all of her secrecy that needed to be known, but was still going through this game pretty fast. I mean, it's a long segment. How long does Dungeon Master want to go this time? Do we see life beyond the Dungeon Master in this one? Can we but help what direction we go in Dungeon Master when we know that taking it to the extreme level of hanging in there for what would normally be only one episode, and suddenly we're doing 2 or 3 inside of one, and Dungeon Master can really wrap you up in guilt when you haven't led anyone out of the dungeon yet, and you have so many dungeons to prevail, and that the Grand Dungeon is at least 112 dungeons, so can you help us get to the end of Dungeon Master? And we're not counting down to the end. I mean, it's not like I directly know in my head that we're on 74 and we have exactly, 48 missions left. And I don't mean to make you cry that we only have 48 missions left, because 48 missions isn't much, but this being one of them, this is going to take us a while, because now we're suddenly seeing things we desire to see, like a cabin getting snowed on, and it's so beautiful. When you see the snow come down in this game, it's like the essence of the world is going to forgive you and reap not on your peril, but on your understanding of humans and the races of humans and all things that are beautiful about orcs and elves and dwarves and other creatures of the night that like vampires and werewolves, and how they're always seen in the same movie together, and no one ever makes a movie just a vampire anymore. They have to do vampires and ghosts or goblins or whatever they were in all those movies. Vampires and witches do not exist in the same world, unless you're in AD&D, which is the real world anyway. Since AD&D is the real world anyway, we're only glimpsing through this window of the ship at sea at the real world. That's sometimes why it has to be toggled, because the real world can't always play from where it's at. Are we flying? Is this mite and magic flying? I think we can see something ahead. It looks like land and sea and might and magic is everywhere, or will be at some time in this game. I swear there's magic in it. That looked like magic, didn't it? And what if it was a magical obelisk that I can just jump on and stand here and fly above? I needed to touch that obelisk, and there was a weird mum-wrath guarding it, and I'm just getting out of here. I'm going flying on this side of the continent, and I don't care what any of you say. Now, if you're playing along, it's been spotted to us that we don't know the length, so be prepared for anything, Dungeon Masters. Except a level up. We won't be giving you a level up this time. We've looked ahead. These things to do are almost near impossible in these dungeons, but considering we have a bunch of near impossible dungeons to go, prep up everyone. It's far from the end. And we're far from the end tonight, because tonight we sail the seas of magic across the heavens, and we look inside the things that make us want to hide, and we take them all into stride. And if you look at the foggy horizon, it's getting so dark I can't barely see, but there's an obelisk. I need its power. It's like that game Myst, where you have to activate the obelisk. And now it's loading, and now I'm lost, and now I don't even know the last place that I've been to in my sleep yesterday morning. And it's been foggy. I just can't really make anything out of it like it looks. What? Did he really check the inventory just then, in the middle of my speech about the avatars on the beach? And look at this. He's rounding the house. It's suddenly a room that we're all familiar with. That there's a winch waiting out there doesn't surprise me. I'm going flying. I'm flying off. That's all there is to it. I'm flying away. I'm flying away. Now we're back in the room. It looks different each time. I flew here for that. Hang on. I gotta go check my stables on another town. I was only in that town for 2 minutes and they acted like I was the king of that town. I swear I'm going over here. Did all you get that text that went by? You're supposed to read it all, and if you don't know it all by the end, then you weren't paying attention enough. But you don't have to catch every detail of Dungeon Master. Just a few sections that kind of, trivialize the meaning of words and trivialize the meaning of production and why we do things on our own this way if we really know what we're doing. But hey, we don't know what we're doing. We're willing to admit that. We're bootlegging a video game to make it a cartoon. Now, if that's not the most asinine project, I don't know how you can bootleg a video game and not move your cursor around, move your cursor. Where is my cursor? That's not my cursor. Hang on, I saw my cursor go by. Someone tell me where my cursor is. Well, anyway, we're trying to make a cartoon out of the video games, but that's not the only thing we do with Dungeon Master. Sometimes we make cartoons out of flip books. And that's when we get lucky and we're dealing with parameters of the snaky circumstances that are in my revelation and appear to be my nonchalant chalice of the ages that will be with me till ever do I die. The world of exploration of the things that are hereby nigh. And in exploration every day I sit upon the cry that one day I'll be in the middle of the evil eye. And that's all I gotta say for this for now, because really we're floating along. We can sing us a song. See, this is beautiful, and we can actually come to this sometimes. See. Oh, I should have pulled back. Okay, well, there was the map, so I'm going this way instead. Audience members, you may use your mind on the next couple of minutes to move the photograph any way you want it to go, but the youngest in the room gets to move it. Go. Well, that's all the time I'll leave you alone there. That got sentimental. Is that the ending of Curse of Salem, or my ears deceive me, or is that a message from... Ew, I don't know. It's that librarian guy that used to page us all the time to see if he could get the books back in order in the basement. And he's been down that trap ever since. And his name is Jesus, and I don't really know if that's what this song is talking about, but it really kind of boils my oats that here in the myth of Cthulhu himself in AD&D and all of it's revealed now when I'm saying Cthulhu, and all that rules the game is the master god Cthulhu. And here we are listening to some kind of primitive sound that's going to make me all sentimental. Well, sentimental I may feel after this. But I really need you to run the map for me so I can find the way through this game. And it's not even looking like they'll give us full production time. I mean, here we've got a reel coming, and it's like the clock's ticking, and the fever is mounting, and no one knows what kind of Dungeon Master level we've even got here. And suddenly I'm looking ahead, and I'm like, this is Might and Magic flown over. So, alas, as we won't be guarded by our summoning alone, we're going to take a step back and a step forward, and I hope the walls shake red when you turn the gentle game into fast forward mode anyway. And then look, now if I'm going to run a cursor, I'm going to try and run it on top of the cursor here so I can control it. See, but he's still the one I'm following to set the controls. And that there's a cursor on there really makes me wonder. Oh, there you are, cursor. Let me follow you. See, I'm a bigger cursor. I can cover it up. And now cursor goes away. Oh, how random is that? You mean this is a bootleg of a bootleg, or someone is on my computer playing Dungeon Master at the same time? How could this be done? I didn't know I was on a network. Oh, yes, I did, but hang on. This makes me wonder if Dungeon Master's really been going on like this for years, and back and forth of how many episodes I've had, and how they've all ended controversially, and been destroyed by madness, and been eaten by plague, and been scourged by lightning bolt, and that's why we're dead and buried. But that's a different game. That was that one map that we kind of got stuck on, and it was kind of funny when we got stuck on all those maps. Seems like so long ago that we got stuck on the map on Might and Magic. That's why we got to have this in ultra fast forward. We must not have gone very far on the timeline, but there is still so little or so much to see. So much besides itself. So much to entertain. Where are we going? Are we there yet? Someone say that was a black screen. Is this black hole sun? You know, it was back in the day they told us to bring our portfolios forward and turn them in for all the magic and might we could get, and then we only had to sail a giant Turkish seaboat and take it over with our drenchy gales of water and force them into the waft of the wasteland, and we all became waifs, and then we were journeying back to what gave us life, and now the origins have got blisteringly remapped into the genealogies of Dungeon Master, which go back from the birth of the Antichrist and his son Lucifer, and then Lucifer's son Jerefius, and Jerefius' son Malchazor, and Malchazor's son Hezekiah, and Hezekiah's son Yakuza, and Yakuza's son Bring Donga, and Bring Donga's son the Master Runa, and then the Luna Runa, and then the Ella Runa, and the Bella Luna, and the Bella Runa were all born before the Antichrist came a second time, and Lucifer came again, and then it was all turned into might and magic when Cthulhu reigned over the innocents. And we all know that's true of AD&D, that Cthulhu is the true god, and I need you, students at home of Dungeon Master, to write this down. Cthulhu is the name of the god in AD&D, and I just don't want to scare anybody, but it's worse than the Beast of the Damned. It's worse than Lucifer. It's the most strong, wild, hard to deal with spell you're ever going to deal with. And I don't know if I have it in me to go on this maze of dungeons, and that we've seen things like dragons flying. I've enjoyed that, yes, but look, even my magic hand is going slower than the screen of Dungeon Master that I must change through. Tap, 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 tap. Okay, there we go. We're back on the screen. And I just didn't want to ruin the game by telling you this was the most peaceful part of the game, because you're by a fountain and there's trees and there's maidens. I don't think that's made to be stressful. Now we're sitting around with the right Knights of the Round Table, and we've just read everything they had to say in 2 seconds. These guys are fast. They're faster than regular might and magic, that's for dang sure. That 3 of my guys are in gravestones. I don't know. Can I bring them back from the dead, or in might and magic do you lose them all instead? I don't remember, but I've been in this inventory room once or twice. It's a shopkeep. Now, we're going traveling somewhere on this movie, and somehow I get this feeling you don't want to come with me to somewhere else land. Somewhere else land might be a steady play ahead. A steady play ahead might be somewhere else land. But if you look very carefully at where we are as a game, we're suddenly in these buildings that we only see for 3 seconds, and we want to see those graphics longer, but we have to travel through dungeons to even find the treasure that was interesting, and splattering ghosts is only the half of what makes me enjoy this sudden dungeon change of events. Because, boy, I was just getting word from the First Lady, and she was saying something like, "This is getting boring." And I thought, getting boring? Why, you haven't been to level 1 of Dungeon Master, where it all starts as the most boring, wretched game on earth. And that she's saying it's getting boring is such flattery that we weren't boring at first. How many remember the beginning of this episode? And it was boring, right? Am I wrong? It's getting boring? Well, I'll have to accept it because it's from her, but I was going to say we were already long down that wind of trails that we were losing time and money and everything absurd on anyway, and no one wanted to see me splatter ghosts anymore. They were just, oh, they were clearly out to get me, all of them. But that shit kind of happens on a regular weekend. I don't know. Things go down. Here we go. Killed skeletons. Dungeon Master, I'm the cleric, right? Well, I just wanted to tell you this game introduced me to the Church Cthulhu, and can I still be a cleric in Cthulhuism? Oh, I can. Oh, I was anyway. I understand you just told me the secret today. I understand. I'll go back and keep track of that. I wrote down in my dungeon notes on my character sheet. Cthulhu is god of AD&D. And AD&D is Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, not Attention Deficit Disorder, which Advanced Dungeons & Dragons does help with attention deficit disorder and helps you not to have it or have it again and again and again. One thing we don't know is either way that argument's going to go. Can you tell me where the magic dungeon lies? Is it down this cave of some other device? Oh, to see the barometer of where the mix is going down, to be adjusted to the spring warm in the night. And everywhere I look, there's a certain kind of fantasy. It's the certain kind of fantasy I like. Oh, sorry, it's the certain kind of fantasy I like as this kind of fantasy. I'm not saying that Dungeon Master is supposed to be this show about, people putting in dungeons and having affairs with each other in dungeons, and just because I live in a dungeon is not what I'm talking about when it comes to Dungeon Master, so fear not. That it isn't exactly for kids is only because, well, we have these scenes where we splatter ghosts, and these scenes right here, the whole reason it's not for kids, so be careful, little eyes, what we see. Ha 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 ha. No, we've turned to the light side only for a moment. Cthulhu, cleanse our hearts with your black spirit. Push through us the voids so that we may see the nothingness in your desire. Make it be the fire and flames of a holding grasp around us so that we burn forever in torture. And all these things in Cthulhu's name. Vamonos. I don't know what I can do. I mean, I see this light at the end of the tunnel, and there are ghosts to splatter, and I'm excited about splattering ghosts. I know I shouldn't be, but they seem kind of, I don't know, demonic or evil or something, and they just need to be splattered to release. That's the last mission on Earth, to release the tension with the Earth. They have to be splattered by Might and Magic Guy. Might and Magic Guy's going, where's the potion? Where's the potion? I got a dozen of them. And all my other characters dead, and I guess once they die, they stay dead. I don't know how I got in this dungeon, or where I am, or where I'm going, or if I can even still fly. But I'm gonna try. Oh, welcome, Dungeon Master. Welcome to another part of the show that can be taken seriously or doesn't have to be. But it's where I whisper so you can hear the music. And I'm losing energy, audience. Fast. It seems like the requisite has come to end Dungeon Master 73 prematurely. Without instant of failure, and without the sudden coming of my cursor, there was a room at Gate's End which did come forth and drag me through what I was shooting at and what I knew. And there's new things to learn, new games to play, new ways to stead, new ways to stay. Now I've done it. I have had a technical difficulty, so even ribalding, if that's the word, from the game, that I have to drop this at the very end of the game, and I wasn't even there. I was like in some dungeon. What is this? Oh, Dungeon 73 is over? Oh, good. I'm going to go check my pizza.